Hello, it's Friday, February 4th, and here we are again. Mike Kitchen talking to you about writing, about anything that's going on. How many of you all survived the Groundhog Day snowstorm? I know some friends out there in Chicago got some heavy dumping. We didn't get hit as bad as they thought we were going to get hit. Look out on our balcony, and we've got about 10 inches, 10 to 11 inches on the balcony. That with the sun out the last couple of days seems to be melting away at a slow pace because it is still frigidly cold. Um, so I hope you fared well during the big snowstorm if it affected you. Um, I did go out on Wednesday. I had to run a couple of errands, and one of them was to the post office to send out that first submission of the novel to a publisher. I've targeted a specific publisher, and I sent that out to them on Wednesday. And fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted on that. Also, this week, finished up. Got a little bit more to finish up on a short story that I'm going to be submitting to the Michigan Bar Journal. It seems every other year, and this is their third contest. They hold this short story contest for those who are practicing lawyers in the state of Michigan. The first one they had, I was not a member of the bar, so I could not enter. However, the last one in 2009, I won. So that was pretty exciting, and it was kind of nice to see your story in print and published out there. And so this year I've got a title to defend. This year they've got some prizes though for the top three. Do I have it here? I think I do. Maybe I don't. There's three prizes, like a bed and breakfast stay up in Mackinac Island, and golfing at St. John's in Plymouth, and I think there was a night at a hotel in Grand Rapids or something like that. So, hey, not only could I defend my title, but get a little prize out of it as well. So I'll keep you posted on that. The deadline is March 1st. And so I've got a little bit of time here to get it polished off and sent off and off to them. And again, fingers crossed we get some good news on that one. What I thought I'd talk about today is writing, getting started in writing, how I got started in writing, and that sort of thing. If you're looking to start to write, what the things that I think you would find helpful, things I found helpful starting out and such. I would say the first thing definitely you need is a dictionary. Okay, this is my little American Heritage Dictionary that I keep handy, and I would suggest a print version, because even though you might be writing on a computer and the internet is right there to, I can just go to dictionary.com or something like that. I don't know about you, but I find that if I get on there and I go to dictionary.com, then the next thing I know, I'm going to YouTube, or I'm going to check my email and that sort of thing, and you get distracted from what you're focused on. So I would suggest a actual dictionary book in some form, soft cover or hard cover, that you could, while you're writing, you need to look up a word, you can just pick it up, look it up, and get back to work. One of the other things that I found helpful early on was finding someone of influence. And when I say that, I don't mean finding somebody who knows people in the publishing world that's going to get you published. When I say influence, I mean somebody who's going to influence your writing. I was fortunate. I was taking a correspondence course while I was in college. The correspondence course was through something called the Newspaper Institute of America. I don't believe it still exists, but what it did was it had two sections of courses. The first section covered basically journalistic writing for newspapers, articles, and that sort of thing. Then the second section was your choice of what you wanted to focus on, whether it was fiction, science fiction, children's literature, poetry, that sort of thing. And I took the fiction route. And the editor I had who was editing my stuff early on pointed me to a mystery writer named Lawrence Block. He's a well-known, well-respected, long-time mystery writer. Has a number of series, a number of series characters. For my lawyer friends out there, I would recommend this collection of short stories. It's called Enough Rope, and the reason I say this collection is in it consists of one of his series characters that has only been published in short story. He has never done a novel on it, and the character's name is Martin Ehrengraf, and he is a criminal defense attorney who his philosophy is his client is always innocent, no matter what his client thinks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 short stories. This is the only book that collects all 10 short stories that he's written on Ehrengraf. There's a couple other collections of his short stories, but it doesn't have all 10 of the Ehrengraf stories. So I would definitely recommend it to the criminal defense attorneys out there. That's fun. It's a fun read. There was a book published that collected, I think, 6 or 7 of them, but it was a very limited print run, and every time I see it up on eBay, it's always upwards of $100 or something like that. It's a very limited print run on that. So she directed me to him. Now, I wasn't writing any kind of mystery novels or mystery fiction or anything like that, but it was his style of writing that was similar to how I was writing, and she kind of pointed me to him. And as I read his writing, I enjoyed it because it's very concise. You don't have somebody spending a paragraph describing a tree or something like that. It's very concise. His dialogue is very sharp, and so I enjoyed reading it, and in reading it, it also inspired and helped me to write. Now, you also need to study the craft, and that's the thing about writing that I've found, is it's a balance between creative and craft. And creative, you think of, oh, I'm going to sit and I'm going to write out whatever comes to mind, and just let the creative juices flow. And then there's the craft end of that, is to taking that creative stuff that you've written and crafting it into a workable, readable story. And you can do that by taking classes. There are all sorts of books out there. Again, I was pretty fortunate because at the time that I was starting out, and I was directed to Lawrence Block, he was a writer, contributor to Writer's Digest on a monthly basis, and he had also written some books on the craft, like writing the novel From Plot to Print, Telling Lies for Fun and Profit, a manual for fiction writers, and Spiders Spin Me a Web, Lawrence Block on writing fiction. And so it was really beneficial to me that the person who I sought to emulate in style wrote articles on how he did it, and so that was beneficial to me in the sense that I got to learn from him this way and not just based on his writing. So I would, you've got to balance that. You've got to understand the craft of writing as well as just the free flow of it. Now, there are some that are very focused on the craft of it, and they don't let themselves go. They don't let themselves. They edit themselves, and I had some problems with that too. It's just part of the process of becoming a writer. You kind of evolve these aspects. So, you learn the craft and such. Oh, and speaking of the craft, I've got a couple other books I want to definitely recommend. I have not finished this one, but I have found it very, very interesting and helpful. It's called Write Like the Masters, and it goes through different writers and what their strengths were and analyzes them. And then you can take a look at how Orwell did this or how Dostoevsky did that. And I'm like I say, I'm only about halfway through it, but I've found this to be a very, very interesting read. The other book that I would strongly recommend for anybody who wants to write any kind of fiction would be The Writer's Journey: Mythic Structure for Storytellers and Screenwriters. And it's by Christopher Vogel, and it basically charts out the hero's journey. And basically you look at any screenplay, any good book, and that's you're following that hero's journey. It's all different, you know. I believe they take Star Wars and they take The Wizard of Oz, and you know they explain the journey through those two movies. But this I would highly recommend. Now, going back to the creative end of it and the letting yourself loose and getting rid of the editor within to allow you to put out there, as Natalie Goldberg would say, you're free to write the worst junk ever, and because you're not showing it to anyone. It gives you that opportunity to let yourself go and see what comes out and what from that you can use. And for that, I'm going to recommend Natalie Goldberg's two books, her classic, Writing Down the Bones, and Wild Mind, Living the Writer's Life. Again, these early on were very helpful to me when it came to, you know, sparking creativity and getting the juices going towards that. So you need that balance of craft and creativity in order to put together something that is publishable and that people will want to read. So for that, I think that's where I'll end this here, because I'm sure those of you who aren't interested in learning to write or becoming a writer have probably tuned out a while ago. So I'll leave that off here, and I'll see you next week. Like I say, if there's anything you'd like me to talk about, send me an email. My email address is, if you're viewing this on my Facebook page, it is on the in the information page. In case you don't catch it, it's Dohang Michael Kitchen. That's DOHAENG Michael MICHAEL Kitchen KITCHEN, all one word, at gmail.com. It's great having you here. Thank you for taking the time to view this, and see you next week. Take care.